Hey guys, welcome back to Between Bells. New York Fashion Week is underway and continues through February 16th. Yes. Our next guest is a fashion-forward advertising mogul who promotes diversity both on and off the runway. Erin Walton joins us now. Erin, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for inviting me.
The best dressed person of the day,
Thank
by
you very
far.
much. You know, I was coming down here, so I had to step it up.
Yeah, as you should,
Well,
because everybody's going to be walking by seeing you. It's like another runway
This
show.
is a little runway show. So speaking of runway shows, how did you start modeling for Paris Fashion Week at the age of 50?
It's a crazy story. There was a photographer named Cal Yee, fashion photographer, who was getting ready to do some new headshots for us for the agency. And he had asked, you know, what I wanted to do, and I was like, I can't do another boring, traditional corporate headshot. And I started talking to him about the designers that I liked, and I said, you know, there's this one designer named Renshu that I've been following. He's amazing. And I just couldn't find his suits because he was a Japanese designer and wasn't really selling in the US. And he looked at me, Cal looked at me and was like, I've worked for Renshu. I've shot for him for Vogue Homme. And let me call him and see if I can get a suit. He sent over a suit, took a picture, sent the image back. And Renshu had asked if I wanted to be in his show in Paris. And I was like, well, why not? This is a pretty cool opportunity to do it. And I did it, and I've been doing it now for the last 5 years or so.
But did you ever think there was a certain point where it's like, I love doing this, but I don't think I could do it because of my age? I've reached this particular point where that should have been something earlier in my life.
I'll be honest with you, I never thought about, the only time I actually thought about my age was when I was there, and most of the models were, you know, in their 20s, and you realize, oh, wait a minute, I'm not in my 20s anymore.
Right.
But I assumed that, you know, because Renshu saw something in me that I probably didn't notice in myself, that I would be fine. The thing that I was most nervous about was becoming like fashion roadkill and just not falling and being the next YouTube sensation.
But then you go viral, so there's a silver light.
That's true, that's true. But it has been great. It's been an amazing experience. He's an incredible designer who's taught me a lot, you know, taught me about storytelling. And there's consistency between what you see in the runway and in Fashion Week and kind of what I do for my day job.
So let's talk about your day job.
Yes.
Okay, so you're also the co-founder of an ad agency called Walton Isaacson.
Yes.
So what have you learned in the last 5 years since you've been, you know, walking the runways to bring into your ad agency?
Yeah, well, first of all, fashion has always been a part of kind of advertising, right? And what we do and how we kind of showcase a brand. Lexus happens to be the brand that we're working with here in Fashion Week, so that's really fun. But I think what I bring back from the fashion industry and specifically what I've learned with Renshu, a couple things. One, how to tell stories and how one part of the story, I'm just one part of the show that helps tell the bigger story. And so advertising, when I think about it and I step back, I think about how that is part of the brand story, how that is part of what we have to do to connect consumers emotionally to the brands that we love. And the other part that's really interesting for me is that, you know, normally in an advertising agency, like we're responsible, my business partner and I, Corey Isaacson, are kind of in charge of it. Here, I'm not. I'm just there to sell his clothes. And there's something really interesting about being silent and learning and experiencing things from someone else's point of view.
Sure.
And how you kind of take that into the storytelling. And the other part that I think that is very consistent, that I've learned a lot and brought back to what we do in advertising is the balance of art and science and the understanding of the creative process, both in terms of designing the fabric and the techniques that are used to create looks, and the science about connecting that to what's going on in the world and how things are evolving.
Well, obviously, your ad agency has a lot of really big brands,
Yep.
Lexus, Intel, McDonald's, Macy's, Miller Coors, but you're taking all those brands and really focusing them into American minority groups, be it the African American community, the LGBT community, all that stuff. And I think that's really great and positive to take those and put it into another demographic.
It is. When we started the agency, part of our DNA was diversity and how diversity was really going to help drive innovation. And I really do believe that. And it's not just cultural diversity, it's about women, it's about diversity in the kind of work that we each bring to the party. And for us, with the brands that we work with, whether it's Lexus or Intel or whoever it is, they understand that that kind of diversity really does help drive consumers to the brands. And it expands the brands. It expands the message to a group of people who might not have been participating in the traditional media and some of the things that the general market clients try to kind of to go beyond. So for us, it has been a true blessing. It has helped drive our volume. It helped drive the types of clients that we're getting. And we're, half of our business is doing multicultural work and the other half is doing general market work. So it really does kind of feed one another.
So obviously bringing Lexus here to New York Fashion Week, are you seeing, some more of those cross-cultural markets at Fashion Week this year?
Absolutely. I mean, I think one of the stories for Fashion Week this year in New York has been the diversity that you've seen on the runway. You've seen more voluptuous, can't even say the word today, size women, plus size women on the runway, which I think is amazing. You've seen more diverse cultures on the runway. You look at Ralph Simmons and what he has done for Calvin Klein, I think has been truly amazing. So yes, I do think that you're seeing much more of that, and it really is helping the brands. And I think it brings a credibility to the brands that may not have been there in the past.
Sure, and then Lexus obviously bringing it into the hashtag How Fashion Travels campaign.
Oh my goodness, it's been great. So one of the cool things that Lexus has done has been to take some of their cars and they've wrapped them with some of the designers to kind of feature some of the designers that are featured at Fashion Week. And there's a fleet of about 50 different cars kind of out there that are going and transporting people between the two different locations of Fashion Week. And yes, it is a big part of the Lexus DNA because fashion, design, technology is all kind of merging together. And I think Fashion Week, and particularly New York Fashion Week, is a good example or an organic way for Lexus to kind of bring those together.
They partner with designers like Nicole Miller, Jeremy Scott.
Oh my goodness,
Jeremy Scott, who does so much stuff with Katy Perry.
Absolutely. So. And what I like about what Lexus is doing is also kind of discovering some of the new designers and giving them a showcase to kind of, tell their story. And it's been a tremendous win for the brand, and hopefully it's been great for the designers as well.
So why are automotive companies like the biggest sponsor during Fashion Week?
Well, I think first of all, the visibility is incredible for any sponsor, but particularly for automotive sponsors. And there is a lot of connection between design and fashion and an automobile that you're buying. I mean, it makes a statement about who you are and what you stand for and what you believe in. And so I do think there's an organic kind of way for the two to kind of connect.
And with Lexus, again, it seems like the brand we keep going back to, but you worked with them in 2015 on a film which won an Ad Color Award called Inside Out. What was that about?
Inside Out was a partnership that we did with the folks at Here Media, which own the Out and Advocate. And one of the things that we wanted to do is to create a series of films where we were telling stories of the LGBTQ community and having them kind of tell their coming out stories. And it was a beautiful, beautiful piece.
Which are always so powerful.
They're really powerful telling. It's one thing to just do traditional advertising. It's a very different thing when you're having people tell their stories. And Lexus being the vehicle, no pun intended, that help them kind of tell those stories, I think was not only great for the people that were in the stories, but also think about all of those kids that are struggling and trying to understand.
I think that's why the It Gets Better campaign was such a provocative and powerful, amazing campaign.
It was an amazing campaign. This year, we're kind of evolving what we did last year. We're doing something called Icons and Ingenues, and we're teaming up these icons with ingenues and helping to tell that story. So I think it's going to be great. It debuted already on out.com, and people can go and check it out. Yeah.
Well, we can't wait to look at it.
Absolutely.
Erin Walton, thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks,
He's the model and co-founder of Walton Isaacson Ad Agency.